Today is Saturday, June 4th. At times, it's felt like the whole world tuned in to see the drama unfold between divorced actors Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. The defamation trial dominated the conversation on social media for the last month and a half and sharply divided viewers who took sides. The jury ultimately ruled in Depp's favor and decided Heard lied about Depp abusing her. Supporters say Depp should be applauded for defending his reputation. Critics, though, have expressed concern that this verdict could make domestic violence victims afraid to speak up against alleged abusers. To help provide analysis of it all, I spoke with legal expert, former LA County prosecutor, and YouTube star Emily D. Baker. Her live-streamed coverage of the trial attracted hundreds of thousands of viewers. So now she's weighing in on how the jury reached its decision, how celebrity factored into this trial, and her take on the lasting impact. Welcome to the Newsworthy Special Edition Saturday, when we sit down with a different expert or celebrity every Saturday to talk about something in the news. Don't forget to tune in every Monday through Friday for our regular episodes, where we provide all the day's news in 10 minutes. I'm Erica Mandy. It's now time for today's Special Edition Saturday. Emily D. Baker, thank you so much for coming here on the Newsworthy.
Absolutely. So happy to be here.
So first, for those who have not followed this as closely as I know you have, can you give us just a brief summary, a brief rundown of what this case is all about?
Absolutely. The Johnny Depp Amber Heard case at its core is a defamation case. Johnny Depp sued Amber Heard over 3 statements that she put out in a op-ed in the Washington Post back in December of 2018. And then she countersued him for 3 statements his former lawyer made in the Daily Mail UK in 2020. So there are 2 lawsuits happening at once in this trial, but the heart of it is defamation. The underlying allegations are where we get into 6 weeks of parsing out allegations of domestic abuse, because those are the allegations Amber Heard made in her op-ed.
And he sued despite not being named in that Washington Post article.
He did. The jury was taught about defamation by implication. When you look at this defamation suit, it had all of the uphill battles for Johnny Depp, not just defamation by implication because he wasn't named, but part of this case was also republication through a tweet that she made. So the law on this was fairly thick for the jury to get through and understand how this played together, because there's a print version of the op-ed, an online version, and then there's that republication through Twitter.
So you're saying by just implying that who she was talking about, that was enough?
Absolutely. The jury had to find that specifically on their verdict forms, that the statements were about Johnny Depp.
And what was her argument when it comes to free speech?
It was interesting that she brought up a free speech aspect, because defamation is not protected by free speech, but she was trying to say, this is my truth, and therefore I'm allowed to speak my truth. The thing that's a slight difference in that is you're allowed to speak the truth, but defamation, when a jury finds that it is not the truth, is not protected by the First Amendment.
And what role did Johnny Depp being a celebrity play in this?
The role of celebrity in this case can't be understated. It's its own entity in this case. The international and intense international interest in this case, the fact that it was streaming, the fact that it has just taken up social media, and we saw almost a circus-like environment outside of the courtroom, with everything from, lines starting 12 hours before, if not more, to get into the courtroom, to alpacas dressed as Jack Sparrow out in front of the courthouse.
Do you think the celebrity played a role in the judge deciding that all of this could be so public?
I'm not sure how Judge A made the decision. I think that celebrity had to factor in, because I think the judge was trying to protect the courthouse from being swamped with even longer lines of people fighting to get into this courtroom to see it. I think the judge was probably along those lines of, people have an intense interest in this case. Defamation of a celebrity is a matter of public interest. And the most transparent thing to do is allow a camera pool feed in the courtroom and then allow people to watch it without disrupting this trial and the day-to-day. And we did see the judge have to admonish the audience once or twice during the trial and remind them that it was a court of law and that laughing and outbursts and things were not appropriate.
And to be clear, ultimately, the verdict sided with Johnny Depp for the most part. Can you explain the outcome?
The jury found on all 3 of Johnny Depp's claims. There were 3 different statements that were specified, and it really said that the op-ed, in every way that it referred to Johnny Depp, was defamatory. But then they also found that there was a defamatory statement made by Johnny Depp's former attorney as an agent of Johnny Depp acting in his stead against Amber Heard.
Were you surprised by this outcome at all?
I was absolutely surprised. I thought if Johnny Depp had a path to victory in this case, which at the beginning of this case, I didn't see at all. I was thinking it was only on count one, the headline of the print version that referenced sexual violence. I thought that that was his strongest path to victory. I was very surprised they came back on the other two statements and surprised that they came back on the counterclaim. A very surprising verdict for me. And then the damages, also surprising.
Why?
They awarded Johnny Depp $10 million in compensation damages, but then I think they sent a message with the jury awarding $5 million in punitive damages. Punitive damages are meant to punish or deter someone from doing this again. And even though it's capped in Virginia at $350,000, he can't collect the whole $5 million. The jury sent a message, I think, with that number because on the counterclaim, they gave Amber Heard 0 in punitive damages.
What happens next? Because Amber Heard's spokesperson has said she plans to appeal.
I think we will see an appeal from Amber Heard. I think we'll see some of the motions that you would traditionally get in court, a motion to set aside the verdict and things like that, and then an appeal. This appeal could serve two purposes. What I saw her attorney, Elaine Bredehoff, saying is that she thought that there was a lot of evidence kept out of this trial that should have come in. So the appeal could be an opportunity for Amber Heard and her team to say, this is everything that the public doesn't know, and these are the items of evidence we thought should come in. So not only does it make an appeal, but it alerts the public as to what they thought should have been in this case. Appeals, though, aren't often successful.
Still ahead, how might this case, with all of the attention it garnered, impact others involved in domestic abuse? You'll hear Emily's take and that of a psychologist coming up. Plus, what Emily says was unlike anything she's ever seen in the courtroom. But first, let's take a quick break to thank our sponsors. Finding and booking a doctor who's right for you does not need to be a terrible experience. Will they take your insurance, understand your needs, or be available when you can see them? With ZocDoc, the answer can be a refreshingly pain-free yes. ZocDoc is a free app that shows you doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, and are available when you need them. I appreciate how easy it is to add my insurance information and then filter for things like specialty, availability, and more. You can even choose a time slot and whether you want to see the doctor in person or do a video visit right there on ZocDoc, and then just like that, you're booked. Find the doctor that is right for you and your insurance and book an appointment that works for your schedule. Every month, millions of people use ZocDoc. And when I need a new doctor, I go there too. Go to ZocDoc.com/newsworthy and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then start your search for a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc, ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. The Newsworthy is also sponsored by Pampers. Okay, parents, if you have an active baby or toddler like I do, then you know that means they're not just active at playtime, they're also active on the changing table, which is not so fun for us parents. That's just one of the reasons I am loving Pampers Cruisers 360 Fit diapers. Cruisers 360 Fit allows me to avoid trying to secure the diaper tape between kicks, and instead it's quick and easy to just pull them on my little wiggly one. Then it's super easy to remove them in seconds with easy tear sides. And the 360 gap-free fit is great for playtime as well. I love that it stretches around my baby's waist so there's no gapping, leaking, or falling off. Instead, my baby is free to play, feeling comfortable and dry. In fact, to keep baby skin healthy, Cruisers 360 Fit locks wetness away from skin for up to 12 hours. It lets us all sleep through the night, and little rashes here and there that we used to notice are not happening anymore. So buy in store. Look for the Pampers Cruisers 360 Fit and download the Pampers Club app today to start earning rewards with every diapers and wipes purchase. Okay, now back to our conversation. One report last month found that the case got more online attention than news stories like the leaked Supreme Court decision, the draft decision, Russia's war in Ukraine, inflation, and more. So why so much attention?
I don't think we can understate the aspect of celebrity here, but this also had elements that we don't normally see in trials in that there is a previous decision from the UK and a lot of the evidence from the UK is known to the public. So now the public can watch along and see, oh, is the audio from Australia going to be in court or not? What is Jennifer Howell's sworn declaration that I've read on the internet? Is that coming into case? So people could watch along at home with their knowledge of this case and see how it was going down.
And there were a lot of salacious details that came out too. Do you think that played a role?
I think it must have, because this is the inner workings of a celebrity marriage and a lifestyle that most of us don't understand. We saw a doctor who's on private retainer for $100,000 a month flying around the world with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. We had a cast of characters unlike witness testimony I've ever seen. There were a lot of moments in this trial that were absolutely stunning. And at the end of the day, people were fascinated and couldn't turn away from the coverage.
So Amber Heard's argument was that a verdict against her would silence not just her voice, but the voices of women everywhere. What's your take on that?
I don't think this is a silencing case. This case is between two individuals that have been in messy litigation for 6 years that are mega celebrities. I know, based on my experience, that there are domestic violence cases prosecuted all over the country. It's fairly regularly done. I think the problem with domestic violence is not the silencing of voices, it's the fear to come forward and report. And a lot of the things that go into that aren't worried about societal repercussions. It's worried about the family unit. It's not knowing where to go for support, not being able to get out of the home. There are bigger implications there than people seeing Amber Heard losing in court on a defamation case with her ex-husband.
Do you think that any survivors after seeing this would worry that they could be sued for defamation if they speak out against their abusers?
I very much hope not, because what we're seeing is Johnny Depp was told by the jury that his truth was the truth in this case. And if you believe Johnny Depp, he's also a survivor of domestic violence. And what I've seen from just my content is there's a lot of people that have been sharing their own stories, that Johnny Depp's story resonated so deeply with them, and they felt encouraged, they felt seen, and they felt validated. I think at the end of the day, we're seeing a celebrity fight to take their name back. And this really is a case between these two parties. And while it's fascinating for the public, I think the biggest hope here is that not only does this case open a conversation about domestic violence and that it doesn't have a face, it doesn't have a gender, it doesn't have a socioeconomic status, it can happen in any relationship. But I also hope that these parties can move on, because they've been in litigation for 6 years. And while Amber Heard lost, the internet has absolutely excoriated her testimony. And I hope that some of that does settle down.
When it comes specifically to the potential lasting impact of this trial on abuse victims around the world, there are a wide variety of opinions. So we wanted to share one more different perspective. Psychologist and best-selling author Dr. Jessica Taylor has been outspoken about this, saying there will be devastating consequences. She says she's heard from abuse victims who are now worried about being sued and are afraid to come forward. Dr. Taylor also explained on Twitter that she's worried about the impact on children and their views about abuse.
And there are now children, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, that have viewpoints on this case, apparently. That, like, talking about it at school, they're watching videos on TikTok of Amber Heard talking about being sexually assaulted, of her talking about, being abused, and they're laughing and saying she's a liar and that she's an attention seeker, she's a gold digger, and that her injuries aren't bad enough and that she doesn't cry enough. That scares me, that we're bringing up a new generation of children who have just been exposed to basically 24/7 coverage for 6 weeks of an extremely complex defamation case with a lot of graphic detail about drugs, alcohol, abuse, sexual assault, domestic abuse, physical assaults, emotional abuse. And these children have come to the conclusion that they have all this knowledge now about what a real victim looks like. You need to explain to them that men and women can be victims of abuse and that it can happen in any of our relationships. It's often something that's very difficult to talk about, that comes in all forms, and that you'll believe them if it ever happens to them, and that they should listen to people who say that it's happening to them too.
You can see more from Dr. Jessica Taylor on Twitter at Dr. Jess Taylor. And of course, we want to thank legal expert Emily D. Baker for all of her insights as well. She provides a bunch more analysis of this case and many others on her YouTube channel and her podcast, The Emily Show. You can follow her on Instagram and Twitter at Emily D. Baker. And if you're new to the Newsworthy, be sure to give our regular weekday episodes a listen for quick 10-minute news roundups to help you start your day in the know. We'll be back on Monday. Until then, have a great weekend.